What it is, what it do, cyber world, it is your girl, the one and only Ash Said It, ashsaidit.com, ashsaidit.com. Welcome back to the Ash Said It Daily Podcast Show. We appreciate you guys for your love, your support. Nearly 500,000 streams worldwide and growing daily. Thank you guys, thank you guys, thank you so very much. Today, I am joined by award-winning author, biology professor, and researcher in the science of love, the wonderful Dawn Maslar. Hey, Dawn.
Hi, Ash. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. First and foremost, Dawn, where are you from? Where do you represent?
I am in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Pretty epic weather right about now. Totally wish I was in Florida.
Nice.
Dawn, when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you were a grown-up?
I wanted to be an artist.
How do you feel like that has coincided with what you're doing today?
Well, I didn't think, as a kid, that starving artist thing, I was like, I didn't think I could make a living out of it, so I went into science. It was like my backup. I should get something solid. But my science, the art still comes out in the creativity. So, of course, I'm science, but the writing comes out from the artist. And I still paint and I do those type of things. But it allows me to be able to create in my mind scenarios. So one of the things that I do is I do a show called The Great Love Experiment, where I bring people up on stage and we reenact science of love. That's part of my creative side that comes out. I chop up a brain to tell people how love works. So that's the artistic that comes out. It's not just pure science. So I think I blended the two.
That's pretty awesome. I wanted to go into that. How does the brain fall in love?
All right. Well, men and women fall in love differently. I actually did the TED Talk on it, how your brain falls in love. Both men and women fall in love with dopamine, which is the excitement hormone, neurotransmitter. But with women, it's dopamine and oxytocin. So it's dopamine as you get excited when you're dating them, and then oxytocin as you learn to trust them, kiss and cuddle. But we get a huge amount of dopamine when we have an orgasm. So a woman's more likely to fall in love after sex. A man, on the other hand, falls in love with an increase of dopamine, again, as he's excited, but vasopressin. Vasopressin increases when he's sexually excited, but rapidly decreases after orgasm. So he's less likely to fall in love after sex. So in a way, if you kind of keep them interested, but without the orgasm, he'll fall in love. But here's the really weird part. They discovered that when a man falls in love, well, both men and women, we have this precipitating effect where neurotransmitters fall and go crazy. But when a man falls in love, his testosterone drops. Well, it turns out his testosterone drops when he commits to a woman. So if a man commits to a woman before you have sex, you're both likely to fall in love at the same time. So that's the ideal situation.
I recall, as I was reading up on you and all your studies and all your research, I don't want to say it was biblical times. Was it biblical times?
Oh, no, it was, for Valentine's Day?
Yes, Valentine's Day, yes.
It wasn't quite biblical times, but how Valentine's Day or Valentine got involved was there was an emperor that was trying to basically kind of take over, and he needed this strong army, and he decreed that his soldiers could not get married, and Valentine was secretly marrying them. Well, the reason why he decreed that is I don't think he realized it at the time, but when the man commits to the woman, when he gets married, his testosterone drops. If you're trying to take over the world, you want a big, strong army that's fortified by testosterone.
Yeah.
So he did. I mean, he was a neuroscientist all by himself. He didn't know it.
Awesome sauce. All right, Dawn, we're having a great time here. We're going to take a brief break. When we come back, we're going to talk about your book, Men Chase, Women Choose. So you guys hang tight for us, and we will be right back. Did you know that some foods can cause weight gain, body aches, and extreme fatigue? These are just some of the symptoms of food intolerance. Well, what is food intolerance? Food intolerance can occur when the body cannot properly digest certain foods. This can result in acid reflux, migraines, and so many other painful issues. How do you find out what foods are causing this irritation? It's easy. Pinner Test. With 500,000 satisfied clients worldwide, Pinner Test is the #1 way of identifying foods that may be causing discomfort. This simple at-home kit is easy to use with results usually within 2 weeks via email. It's that simple, all right? What are you waiting for? Go visit pintertest.com and use my special promo code AshSaidIt for your discount today. Welcome back to the Ash Said It Daily podcast show. We appreciate you guys so very much. I am talking to the Love Biologist, Dawn Maslar. Dawn, so your new book, well, I wouldn't say necessarily new, but your current book, Men Chase, Women Choose. What was the inspiration behind writing this particular book?
I wanted to understand love. So how I ended up becoming a writer or got involved in all of this was I was one of those women that were attracted to the wrong men. So I was a biology professor, and I was chasing after the bad boy biker in the band. So I'm like, it's pathetic in a way. I'm teaching during the day, and at night I'm like trying to follow his band to bars and like falling asleep in the bars and trying to stay awake to listen to his band and trying to get his attention. And one day I called him, and he said, "Look, I can't talk to you anymore because I've asked somebody else to marry me."
Wow.
And I was like blindsided. I was like, "What?" And I stumbled around a little bit more, and I had a couple more bad relationships, and I finally hit a bottom of what is wrong here. And I realized that I was the common denominator. I need to work on myself. So I did. And I wrote my first book after I did that. And I started these women's groups, and we started talking about love and how to find the right person. And they kept asking me these questions. Well, how does love really work? And what happens when you fall in love? And how long should you wait to have sex? And it was all these questions that I didn't have answers for. So I said, I'm a biology professor. I have all the research. I have access to all the research in the world. I'm going to study this. I'm going to figure this out. I figured it would take a couple months. 5 years. It took 5 years. Wow. And the wild part it took so long is because love's not just one thing. It's actually 4 different phases. The book is called Men Chase, Women Choose, the neuroscience of meeting, dating, losing your mind, and finding true love. Those are the 4 stages. Meeting, attraction is one phase. Falling in love is another stage. Being in love, or building up to falling in love is one stage. And then falling in love is another stage. And then real love is another stage. When we fall in love, our brain deactivates. Parts of our brain deactivate. And that's one of the risks that falling in love is kind of a risk. Remember I talked about women are more likely to fall in love after sex. If she gets into a sexual relationship too quickly, part of her brain called the ventral medial prefrontal cortex deactivates. We see less blood flow. So she's not able to see that person as well. In other words, that's why they say love is blind. You lack the ability to really judge him. So you only see the good in him. And also a part of your brain called the amygdala becomes deactivated. So even if you notice something wrong, it doesn't register as being wrong because your alarm system's not going off. So you're like, oh, he's got a sawed-off shotgun and a ski mask in his trunk. Oh, he's doing winter deer hunting. It's not a big deal, You just kind of completely dismiss the signs. Gotcha. And that lasts for about 2 years. And then your brain comes back. So if you're in a relationship and all of a sudden you start noticing those little things that you missed before, like he smacks his lips when he eats and it's really annoying, or he drops his clothes.
True enough. Very true.
From the giggle, I know you've been there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like, and it's one of those things, when you're in love, everything's so wonderful. This is such a great guy. Everything's great. And then, like you said, the smoke clears and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a monster. This was a mistake. What was I even thinking?
Right. And that's why, and that's what was some of the important things I found in the book. It's like, it's really important when you first start dating to before you get in a sexual relationship, take the time to get to know them, because once you fall in love, you're kind of in trouble. You're kind of blindsided by your brain for a couple years.
Wow, for a couple of years.
Yeah, for 2 years. And then when your brain comes back, you're like, oh, how did I miss that? And your friends see it too.
Oh yeah, they always see it.
Yeah. They come back and say, I knew it the whole time. And you're like, why didn't you tell me? They're like, you wouldn't listen. It's like, oh, my brain was deactivated.
Well, once we, kick that back into gear, all is well, when we get out of those crazy situations. And I always tell people, take it as
it's not all bad, because sometimes the brain comes back and you notice things, but there are ways to work through them with the right person.
Yeah.
So the true love part is it shows the research on how you can actually have a loving long-term relationship.
Yeah. I can agree with that. I think with everything takes time, and then having that stepping away moment of, okay, this is what I'm dealing with. Do I really want to deal with this for the rest of my life?
Mm-hmm.
Or, is
Yes.
this, that lesson that, Mom was always telling me about, and, just taking it with a grain of salt.
Correct. Yes, and that's it, exactly. What you focus on is really going to make or break the relationship.
Yes.
So if you focus on the negative and you create a lot of stress, we actually see that will sever the connection to love in the brain.
Last but certainly not least, Dawn, what advice would you offer to anyone out there that's listening, anyone right now that is seeking love? What advice would you give to them today?
That is seeking love, in the beginning, you want to sit down and make a list of, first of all, what you want in your life, and then you take somebody that's going to fit into that life. So, for example, I had a woman who, she met this guy, and she went just with the feeling. Oh, he was great, and she jumped in a relationship with him, had sex with him, she fell in love. Next thing, he was gone. And I'm like, what happened? She goes, well, he's a yacht captain, and he's gone 6 months out of the year. And I said, is that really what you want in your life? And she's like, no, I want somebody to come home every day. I'm like, you need to figure that out before you jump into the relationship. So, I mean, he might have been great, but you go, I'm sorry, this is really not what I want in my life. I mean, you can continue to see him, but don't have sex with them, because then you're going to end up getting hurt. So you need to figure out what you want before you get into a relationship. That's critical.
Good. Dawn Maslar, thank you so much for joining us today, Dawn. We appreciate that.
Thank you. Follow me on Facebook, Dawn Maslar. I'm on Instagram, on Twitter, and dawnmaslar.com is my website. I'd like to be all your friends. I'd like to be my friends.
Yes, we're going to get that. We're going to spread that around. Good positive vibrations. Loving that. And we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for downloading the show and supporting the movement, which is ashsaidit.com, ashsaidit.com. Keep in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do, you look them square in the face and tell them, don't believe me. Just watch. Watch what I do. Watch me make it happen. Watch me make history. That's what we're doing this for. We're doing this for the history books. Social media is nice, but real life is so much better. Until next time, you guys.